Hello, little friends. Tonight we are going to start with something truly magical. A tiny, sparkling secret, hidden right where you least expect it, behind your pillow. Imagine lying in bed, soft and cozy, when suddenly your hand brushes against something hard and unusual. You lift, there it is, a teeny tiny wooden door with golden edges glowing softly, as if whispering, "Open me, Lucy." Before we start, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, only if you enjoy bedtime stories with me. And oh, I'd love it if you leave a comment with your name or tell me your favorite character. Maybe a silly puppy, a giggly fairy, or even a dancing watermelon. Now snuggle up, close your eyes, and let's begin our magical journey together. The little door has carvings of musical notes swirling like vines across its frame. Lucy tilts her head and giggles. Who hides a door in a pillow? That's sillier than putting a goldfish in a teacup. But the glow is so warm, so inviting, that her curiosity grows bigger than a balloon. She reaches out with her tiny fingers. Click. The golden handle turns, and the door swings wide open. Whoosh! A gentle breeze flows through, carrying with it the soft hum of a tune, like someone far away is playing a lullaby. The sound wraps around Lucy's ears like a cozy scarf, and she feels a shiver of excitement. Her bedroom melts away, poof, like sugar in tea. She steps through the door and finds herself standing in the middle of her very own neighborhood. But wait, something is different. The lampposts are glowing like giant fireflies. The pavement sparkles as though sprinkled with silver dust, and every little sound seems louder, clearer, almost alive. Then it happens. The wind rustles the leaves of the nearest tree, and Lucy freezes. Did it just whisper her name? Lucy! The sound is soft, playful, like a friend calling from hide and seek. Lucy gasps and looks around, her eyes wide. "That's not normal wind," she whispers, covering her mouth in surprise. The whispers grow louder, swirling in the air, tugging at her dress, almost urging her to follow. Lucy bites her lip, half excited, half nervous, and wonders, what mystery is waiting for me at the end of this windy song? The whispers in the wind curled around Lucy like invisible ribbons, tugging her gently down the glowing street. Each step she took made the cobblestones beneath her shoes hum a faint ting-ting, as though the ground itself was part of a giant xylophone. Lucy giggled. "If the street starts singing, I'll have to dance too." And she twirled once, her little laugh ringing through the quiet night. But the wind wasn't done with her yet. It rose and fell like a flute, carrying her name again. As if someone unseen was trying to get her attention. She looked up at the tall oak tree standing at the corner. Its leaves shimmered silver under the lamplight, and when the breeze passed through, they rustled together like 1,000 tiny hands clapping. "Are you cheering for me, or trying to tell me a secret?" Lucy asked, placing her hand on the trunk. For just a moment she thought she felt a pulse beneath the bark, like the tree itself was alive and listening. A small feather floated down from the branches, gliding onto her palm. The feather shimmered faintly with rainbow colors. "Oh, how pretty!" Lucy exclaimed. But as soon as she touched it, a strange thing happened. The feather vibrated softly, and she heard not just whispers, but a low note, like the deep hum of a cello being played far away. Her heart skipped. It's not just the wind, she realized, eyes wide. It's music. My neighborhood is singing? She pressed the feather against her ear like a seashell, and the sound grew clearer. Layers of gentle whispers, like voices blending into a song. Somewhere, high above, a bird chirped, but its chirp sounded out of rhythm, almost like a wrong note in the melody. Lucy tilted her head, puzzled. "Maybe it's trying to warn me," she whispered. "Or maybe it wants me to follow the tune." The wind whooshed again, this time swirling down the road, bending a street lamp so that its golden glow pointed toward the next corner. It was almost like the breeze was saying, "This way, Lucy. Don't stop now." Lucy hugged the rainbow feather close to her chest. Her tiny footsteps echoed in time with the whispering wind, and her heart beat faster. Not from fear, but from the thrilling mystery of it all. What if my whole neighborhood is a secret orchestra waiting for me to discover it? She grinned, eyes sparkling. Well then, let the concert begin. The first light of dawn stretched its golden fingers across the rooftops, and Lucy squinted as the world shifted from shadow to soft pink. Birds began to sing, their chirps bouncing from chimney to chimney like playful marbles rolling down a hallway. But Lucy paused. Something was off. Most of the birds sang in cheerful harmony like flutes and piccolos weaving a morning tune. Yet one bird, perched on the telephone wire, sang a strange wobbly note. It was sharp and squeaky, like a violin string pulled too tight. Lucy tilted her head. "Oh dear," she whispered, "someone's out of tune." She stifled a giggle. "Don't worry, little bird, my singing isn't perfect either." The bird looked straight at her, puffed out its feathers, and chirped again, "Squeak!" Lucy laughed so hard she almost dropped the rainbow feathers still tucked in her hand. "You sound like my grandpa's rusty bike bell," she teased gently. But then her smile faded. Because that squeaky note didn't vanish into the morning air, it lingered, stretching unnaturally, like a string being plucked and held far too long. The trees shivered, their branches swaying though there was no breeze. The note wrapped around the rooftops, echoing faintly. And then, beneath the cheerful bird chorus, Lucy heard it. A faint, steady rhythm, tap, 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 like footsteps. Her eyes darted around the quiet street. No one was there. The baker's shop was still dark, the milk bottles on the doorstep untouched, the windows all closed, yet the sound of footsteps followed her heartbeat. Lucy clutched the feather and whispered, "Is someone keeping time, like a drum?" The squeaky bird gave one last squeak and flew off down the street. Without thinking, Lucy followed. Her shoes slapped the cobblestones, and suddenly, there it was again. Tap, tap, right behind her. She spun around. Empty street. No one, only the rising sun glowing like a spotlight. Lucy's heart fluttered. Is it just me, or is my neighborhood alive? She pressed the feather to her ear again, and now she could hear it more clearly. Whispers turning into a faint melody, the drum-like steps joining in, the birds squeak like a violin finding its part. The whole street was building a song. Lucy grinned nervously. "Well," she whispered, "if this is a concert, I guess I have the best seat in the house." But deep down, her toes tingled with excitement, and maybe, just maybe, a hint of mystery shivers too. The cobblestones glistened faintly with morning dew as Lucy kept walking, her ears perked like a curious kitten. The rhythm of those mysterious footsteps seemed to trail just a half beat behind hers, like a shadow dancer copying every move. Step, tap, step, tap. She stopped. The sound stopped. She tiptoed forward. The sound tiptoed too. Lucy spun around so fast her hair whooshed like a little whirlwind. But the street stretched out empty, quiet, and still. Not even a single curtain twitched from the windows. "Okay," she whispered, holding the rainbow feather like a sword. "If you're trying to sneak up on me, you're doing a very silly job." The only reply was silence, well, almost silence. because as she leaned closer to the cobblestones, Lucy noticed something very peculiar. The stones weren't just damp with dew. Some of them glowed faintly, tiny dots of shimmering light like musical notes inked onto the ground, scattered along the path. Her eyes widened. It's like someone dropped a song all over the street. Suddenly, tap! One glowing stone pulsed brighter, as if a hidden finger had just pressed it like a piano key. Then another tap, tap! The cobblestones lit up in a trail, leading down the street like a secret map. Her heart thumped. Should she follow? Before she could decide, a new sound cut through the air, a low buzz, weaving between the glowing stones. At first, Lucy thought it was a street lamp humming, but as the sound got closer, she realized it was wings. A plump little bee zigzagged out from behind a lamppost, its buzz oddly rhythmic. It circled Lucy's head, then darted toward the glowing cobblestones as if urging her to come along. "Oh, are you the messenger?" Lucy asked with a delighted gasp. The bee buzzed louder, almost like a giggle. Then, buzz zip! It zipped off, pausing just far enough ahead for Lucy to chase after. Like a tiny conductor waving its baton, it led her step by step, but with every glowing stone she touched, the echo of footsteps behind her grew louder, heavier, closer. Lucy whispered to herself, half nervous and half thrilled, "Either I've just joined the strangest parade in the world, or someone doesn't want me to find out what's waiting at the end of this street." Her toes tingled again, but her smile returned. After all, what's a good mystery without a little chase? The little bee hovered at the corner of the street, its wings humming like a tiny violin string. Lucy followed carefully, tiptoeing as if the ground might suddenly start singing again. The glowing cobblestones were fading now, replaced by ordinary gray slabs. But the bee didn't seem worried. It zigzagged with confidence, heading toward a neighbor's garden. It was a garden Lucy had passed many times before. Usually it was alive with sound, sprinklers hissing, leaves rustling, the neighbor's dog barking like it was having a very important conversation with the mailman. But tonight, silence. Not just quiet, too quiet. The sprinkler stood frozen mid-drip, a single bead of water hanging on the tip of the nozzle like it had forgotten how to fall. The flowers stood stiff, their petals motionless, as if holding their breath. And the dog? It sat at the gate, wide-eyed, mouth open, but not a single bark escaped. It was like someone had pressed the pause button on the whole yard. Lucy tilted her head. That's odd. Even my tummy growls louder than this place. She gave her belly a little poke and giggled when it gave a tiny grrr. The bee landed delicately on a rose petal and buzzed softly, almost like a whisper. Psst. Lucy leaned closer, straining to hear, and that's when she caught it. A faint vibration, not in her ears but in her chest, like the air itself was humming beneath the silence. "Are you telling me the garden is listening?" she asked the bee in a hush. The bee flitted off the rose and circled the sprinkler as if to nod. Then, without warning, the drop of water hanging from the nozzle trembled, plip, finally falling. The sound echoed in the stillness, louder than it should have been, like a drum beat in a vast hall. And with that drop, everything seemed to stir. The dog blinked and wagged its tail once. The leaves shivered. The flowers swayed, releasing a faint perfume. But instead of barking, the dog gave a low, melodic woo, a sound more like a flute than a growl. The bee buzzed in time, the sprinkler dripped again, plop, plip, plop, and suddenly Lucy realized it wasn't silence at all. It was a song waiting for the right listener. Her skin tingled. The whole garden was playing a note in a grand secret symphony, and she was hearing it for the very first time. But just as her smile grew, another sound crept in, faint, muffled, hidden. The sound of giggles. Children's giggles, light and playful, coming from somewhere beyond the garden hedge. Yet when Lucy tiptoed closer, the laughter didn't grow louder. It stretched out, echoing, bouncing in strange directions, like the gigglers were there and not there at the same time. She clutched her rainbow feather tighter. "All right, who's laughing at me?" she called, half brave, half curious. The giggles stopped, and then one last ha-ha, sharp, clear, and very close, right behind her ear. The garden next door felt different that morning. Just a little while ago, Lucy had been following the buzzing bee, but when she stepped past the fence, everything suddenly grew still. The sprinkler that usually hissed and clicked every morning stopped mid-splash, leaving drops of water frozen on the leaves like tiny jewels. Even the neighbor's dog, who loved to bark at butterflies, sat completely silent, staring into the air as if he too was waiting for something. Lucy tiptoed in, her sandals crunching softly against the gravel path. "Hello," she whispered. No answer. Usually the garden was full of sounds, water dripping, bees humming, and sometimes even Mrs. Green humming a cheerful tune while watering her roses. But now it was as if someone had pressed a giant mute button. The flowers bent slightly in the breeze, but strangely the breeze itself made no sound. Have you ever tried to imagine wind that moves but doesn't whisper? That's exactly what Lucy felt, and it gave her tiny goosebumps. She reached out and touched a rose petal, silky and warm under the sun, but even her touch didn't make the usual rustling sound. It was a garden painted with silence. Then tap, tap! She turned her head. A single drop of water fell from a leaf onto the stone path, echoing louder than normal, like a secret signal. Lucy's eyes widened. Maybe the garden wasn't really silent. Maybe it was listening, waiting for her to notice something important. A small shadow flickered past the bushes, too quick to catch. Lucy held her breath, her heart racing with a mix of curiosity and excitement. Could it be another clue, another sound ready to reveal itself? She leaned closer, trying to hear beyond the silence. And just then the dog's ears twitched, though he still didn't bark. He looked straight at Lucy, then at the far corner of the garden, as if to say, "Go on, the secret is waiting there." Would you dare to step into a garden where every sound is holding its breath? Lucy smiled nervously, tightened her grip on her little notebook, and took a careful step forward. Lucy followed the silent path deeper into the neighbor's garden. The quiet wrapped around her like a soft blanket, but her little feet felt lighter with each step. She glanced at the dog one more time, but he simply wagged his tail once and turned his head away, as if he had finished his part in the story. Then, out of nowhere, a giggle floated through the air. It was quick and light, like the tinkling of tiny bells. Lucy froze. "Hello?" she called softly, turning in a circle. The laughter came again, higher this time, like 2 or 3 children laughing together and then covering their mouths to hide. But when she peeked behind the bushes, nothing. Just a row of daisies swaying, pretending to be ordinary flowers. Lucy scrunched her nose. "Very funny," she whispered, half smiling. She even lifted one daisy to check if a fairy was hiding beneath it, but the flower only tickled her fingers. She walked on, her sandals brushing against the grass, and suddenly the laughter leaped to the other side of the garden. This time it echoed, bouncing around like a bouncing ball, making it impossible to tell where it started. "Yeah!" Lucy giggled back. "If you're trying to play hide and seek, you're doing a very good job." The air shimmered for just a second, like heat waves above a road on a summer day. She could almost see the outline of something. Maybe two small figures holding hands, maybe just her imagination. The laughter swirled again, wrapping around her ears, then fading into the distance. And then silence returned, just as suddenly as it had left. The flowers stopped swaying. The air grew still. Lucy pressed her hand to her heart, which was beating faster than a drum. So, was that real? She wondered aloud. She sat on the edge of the stone fountain, looking up at the sky. A little cloud passed overhead, shaped like a smiling face. Maybe the garden just wanted to share a joke with me, Lucy whispered. But as she leaned closer to the fountain water, she thought she saw ripples moving. Not from the wind, not from a falling leaf, but from laughter still hiding inside the water itself, waiting for the next moment to come out again. Would you have chased that laughter, or would you have just laughed along? Lucy's curiosity only grew stronger, and she decided to keep going, towards whatever secret was next. Just as Lucy stepped out from the quiet garden, a sudden whir filled the air. She looked up, and dozens of white pigeons burst from the rooftop. Their wings flapped so quickly that the sound rumbled like drums at a parade. Lucy gasped, covering her ears. Flap, flap, flap! The birds spun around in a circle above her head, forming shapes against the morning sky. First, they looked like a giant key. Then, as they swooped lower, their wings beat together in rhythm, almost like someone was tapping a big invisible drum. Are you trying to tell me something? Lucy asked softly. One pigeon flew down closer, its feathers shining with a silver shimmer. It tilted its head and gave a coo that sounded almost like a note of music. Do-do-do! Lucy couldn't help but giggle. That sounded like you were singing. The flock shifted again, this time splitting into two groups. One side formed a circle, the other lined up in a row. The sound of their wings matched, like the boom-boom of a marching band. Lucy felt her feet tapping along to their beat, as if she were part of the music too. Then something odd happened. All at once, the pigeons froze midair, silent, wings stretched like a still picture in the sky. Lucy blinked. How could they stop like that? For just one heartbeat, the whole world seemed to pause with them, and then, whoosh! The birds shot upward in one single motion, disappearing into the clouds, leaving behind only drifting feathers. One feather, soft and glowing faintly, floated down into Lucy's hands. She turned it over gently, noticing tiny sparkles along its edge. "Thank you," she whispered to the sky, though she wasn't sure why she said it. Maybe the pigeons had given her a clue, or maybe just a piece of the secret melody the neighborhood was hiding. Her heart still thumped with the rhythm of their wings. She clutched the feather tightly, tucking it behind her ear like a tiny crown. If the pigeons are playing music too, she thought, then what's waiting for me next? She smiled, her curiosity glowing brighter than ever, and stepped forward into the next mystery. Lucy followed the path until she reached the park, where the grass was still damp with morning dew. The air felt lighter here, as if the park itself was holding its breath, waiting for her. She walked past the gates, and that's when she noticed something curious. The swings were moving. Not just a gentle sway from the breeze, but a steady back and forth, back and forth. Creak, creak, creak. The chains groaned softly, almost like someone whispering secrets. Yet, no one was sitting on them. Lucy tilted her head. "Hello? Is anyone there?" she asked. A soft laugh echoed, playful but distant, as if the sound was hiding inside the swing's rhythm. She leaned closer, placing her ear near the seat, and for just a second she thought she heard words. "Come and play. Come and play." Her eyes widened, but she wasn't afraid. Instead, she smiled. "Are you swings trying to talk to me?" she giggled. She gave the swing a tiny push, and it answered with another long creak, creak, like a sigh of happiness. Then she noticed the slide nearby. Drops of dew slid down its surface, but instead of a simple drip drop, they made tiny ringing sounds like the tinkling of a xylophone. Plink, plink, plink. Lucy clapped her hands. "You're making music too. First pigeons with their drums, now swings and slides with their own voices." As she walked further in, the merry-go-round spun slowly on its own, squeaking a tune that matched the swing's creaks. It was as if the whole playground was alive, whispering to each other in a secret language. Lucy sat on the bench, listening carefully. The creaks, plinks, and squeaks blended together into a strange, gentle melody. She tapped her feet along, her feather crown bobbing. "It's like the park is having a little concert just for me," she whispered. But then, everything stopped. The swings froze midair, the slide went silent, the merry-go-round halted. The park fell into a hush so sudden it made her hold her breath. She looked around, clutching her glowing feather. The silence wasn't empty, it was waiting. "What are you all trying to tell me?" Lucy whispered back. And deep inside, she felt that the answer was coming soon. Maybe from the next sound, the next mystery, the next step she dared to take. The lake looked calm and still, like a giant mirror reflecting the sleepy sky. Lucy tiptoed closer, holding her breath. She had always loved the gentle sound of water trickling and splashing. It reminded her of tiny silver bells ringing softly. But tonight, something felt different. The ripples carried more than just water's usual song. As she leaned in, Lucy could hear it. A faint humming sound, low and steady, almost like someone singing from far, far below. The melody was soft but mysterious, as though the lake itself was practicing a lullaby. "Did you hear that too?" Lucy whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. She giggled nervously. "If the fish are having a concert, I sure hope they saved me a seat." The little fireflies dancing nearby seemed to blink in rhythm with the tune, like glowing audience members clapping along. A frog on a lily pad gave a sudden ribbit that landed right in the middle of the humming sound. Lucy laughed. "Oh, silly frog, you're trying to join the choir, aren't you?" She crouched lower, and the water sparkled under the moonlight. If you looked closely, you might imagine there were shapes moving far beneath, shadows that shifted like dancers swaying to music only they could hear. For a moment, Lucy wondered if the lake was keeping a secret. Could there be a magical orchestra hiding down there, waiting for the perfect night to play? The air grew cooler, brushing her cheeks like a gentle whisper. Lucy placed her hand on the ground, feeling the earth's quiet vibration. "Isn't it amazing?" she murmured. "The world is singing to us if we just stop and listen." Then the melody faded for a heartbeat. The lake became so quiet, she could hear her own heartbeat thumping softly in her chest. She tilted her head, curious. Will it sing again? Or was that just for me? And just as she was about to step back, the humming returned, stronger this time, layered with trickling notes like crystal chimes. Lucy's face lit up. It was as if the whole lake was alive, creating its very own lullaby. She whispered to the night, "Thank you, lake. I'll remember your song forever." But somewhere deep inside, she couldn't help but wonder, what if tomorrow the lake had a brand new tune? The moment Lucy left the lake behind, she heard a splashy giggle ahead, almost like water was laughing. She hurried toward the sound, her slippers pattering softly on the ground. And there it was, the fountain at the center of the park, bubbling and spraying as though it couldn't hold in its joy. Water leapt into the air, sparkling under the lamplight like diamonds tossed by invisible hands. Each stream of water seemed to rise in time with a beat, as if the fountain was dancing to music no one else could hear. Lucy's eyes widened. "Oh my, is this a water ballet?" she whispered, clapping her hands in delight. The fountain swayed left, then right, spraying droplets that landed on her cheeks like ticklish kisses. "Hey," she giggled, wiping her face. "You're not just a fountain, you're a performer." Suddenly, the splashes grew louder, faster, like a drum roll made of rain. The arcs of water crisscrossed each other, weaving a pattern in the air. Lucy twirled in time with the rhythm, her hair spinning out like a golden ribbon. For a second, she imagined herself on stage beside the fountain, performing a duet, one dancer made of water, the other a curious little girl. Then, without warning, it stopped. Every droplet froze midair for a heartbeat before falling silently back into the basin. The fountain stood perfectly still, like a statue that had never moved at all. Lucy gasped. "Wait, what happened? Where did your music go?" Her voice echoed gently through the quiet park. The silence was so sudden, it made her heart flutter. She leaned closer, hoping the water would whisper its secret again. A tiny droplet slid down the fountain's edge, landing with a delicate plink. Lucy smiled softly. "Ah, you just needed a break, didn't you?" she said. "Even dancers get tired." She stepped back and hugged herself, the night air cool but comforting. The stillness felt like a pause in a song, one that made her wonder what the next note would sound like. And as she turned to walk on, Lucy thought, maybe the fountain's dance will return when I least expect it. She giggled, "I'll be ready for the encore." Lucy strolled farther down the quiet street, her slippers brushing against the smooth pavement. The night seemed calm now, as if it had settled back into a lullaby. But just as she sighed with relief, a crisp ding-ding rang out of nowhere. She stopped, blinking. It was the unmistakable sound of a bicycle bell, cheerful, bright, and strangely close. Lucy spun around, her eyes darting across the street. No bike, no rider, just the empty path stretching into the shadows. Ding, ding! The sound echoed again, this time from the other side of the road. Lucy tilted her head. "Oh, come on, you're playing hide and seek, aren't you?" she said with a giggle. The bell chimed once more, softer now, almost like it was teasing her to follow. With a determined nod, Lucy tiptoed toward the sound. She imagined an invisible bike, its wheels turning on clouds, its bell jingling whenever the rider waved hello. The thought made her smile so wide her cheeks tingled. Suddenly, the bell echoed from above her head. Lucy looked up and gasped. A tiny glow zipped through the sky, leaving a silvery trail like a shooting star. And from that glow came, yes, the bicycle bell's ding-ding. "Wait a second," Lucy whispered. "Is that a bike flying in the sky?" She could barely make out the shape, like a shadow against the moon. The glowing wheels spun gracefully, circling once before vanishing into the night. Her mouth hung open in awe. "A flying bicycle! Oh, I wish I could ride that!" she whispered, clutching her chest. She imagined herself zooming between the stars, her hair whooshing behind her, ringing the bell to wake up sleepy comets. But just as quickly as it appeared, the sound faded. The street fell silent again, as if the night had tucked the secret away. Lucy giggled softly. I guess the bike was shy, or maybe it only wanted to say goodnight. She cupped her hands to her mouth and whispered, "Good night, magical rider!" The air felt lighter somehow, as though the sound of the bell had brushed a smile across the whole neighborhood. And with that, Lucy skipped ahead, curious about what other surprises the night still had waiting. The black cat stepped gracefully into the narrow alley, its tail curling like a question mark. Lucy followed, her tiny slippers making soft taps on the cobblestones. The cat's eyes gleamed golden in the dim light, and each meow echoed as if bouncing off invisible walls. Was it guiding her? Or just playing a secret game, she wondered, her curiosity tingling like bubbles in soda water. The alley was lined with old bricks, moss peeking out between the cracks. Lucy noticed something. Whenever the cat meowed, faint glowing paw prints appeared on the ground, like little lanterns showing her where to step. She giggled, whispering, "It's like following fairy breadcrumbs, but fluffier." The air smelled faintly of jasmine, and somewhere above, laundry lines swayed gently, making creaking sounds as if singing along. The cat paused, looking back at her with a slow blink. Did you know that when cats blink slowly, it's like their way of saying, "I trust you"? Lucy didn't know that yet, but she felt warm inside, like being wrapped in her favorite blanket. Suddenly, a wooden door appeared at the end of the alley, one she had never seen before. Its handle shimmered like silver under the moonlight, though no moon was above. The cat sat neatly by the step, tail curled around its paws as if waiting for her to notice. Lucy leaned in closer, pressing her ear gently against the wood. From inside came the faint sound of chimes, soft, playful, like someone laughing through music. "Should I knock, or should I wait?" she whispered. The cat answered with another low meow, then padded in a slow circle around her feet, purring like a tiny drum. Lucy grinned, her heart skipping with excitement. "I think you're trying to tell me this is where the next secret begins. And oh, little friend, can you guess what would happen if she reached out for that shining handle?" Lucy stood before the mysterious door, the silver handle sparkling like a captured star. She hadn't touched it yet, but suddenly, ding-dong, a soft, cheerful chime rang out, making her jump and then laugh at herself. "Wait a minute," she whispered, her eyes wide. "I didn't even press anything." The cat tilted its head, flicking its tail as if to say, "See? Told you so." Lucy leaned closer, her nose almost brushing the wood. Another ding-dong echoed, this time followed by a playful giggle, though no one was standing behind her. The door seemed alive, humming with music, its wood glowing faintly as though it was painted with hidden stars. Curiosity buzzing like bees in her chest, Lucy whispered, "Hello? Is someone there?" To her surprise, the door answered with 3 quick chimes, ding, 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 like a secret code. She giggled. "Oh, so you're a talking door. That makes sense. Well, sort of." She reached out, but before her fingers touched the handle, the chime changed into the sound of a lullaby. Notes danced in the air like floating fireflies. The little alley filled with a gentle tune, so sweet that even the cat closed its eyes, purring in rhythm. Did you know that some birds, like nightingales, can sing more than 200 different songs? Lucy thought this door might be competing with them. It seemed to know every lullaby ever written. The melody shifted, almost like it was inviting her to step inside. Lucy pressed her ear against the wood again and could hear not just music but whispers, soft voices weaving together like threads. "Come closer, little dreamer. The secret is waiting." She took a deep breath, her heart fluttering. "Well," she told the cat, "if you're brave enough to follow me, I'm brave enough to knock." The cat meowed once more, pawing at the glowing paw prints that now climbed up the door itself, sparkling like notes on a music sheet. With a smile full of wonder, Lucy lifted her tiny fist and tapped gently. Dong! The whole door chimed in reply, swinging open with a whoosh of warm golden light, carrying with it a swirl of magical music that seemed to whisper her name. The golden light spilled around Lucy like a warm blanket, wrapping her in gentle sparkles. She stepped through the doorway and suddenly, whoosh, she found herself in the middle of the entire neighborhood, but it didn't look the same anymore. Every street, every tree, every window glowed as if made of music. The houses weren't just standing quietly, they were singing. The lampposts hummed, the leaves chimed, and even the cobblestones beneath her feet tapped a steady beat. It was as if the whole town had turned into a grand orchestra. The little chimes from the swings, the soft drips from the fountain, the flap of pigeon wings, all joined together into one breathtaking melody. Lucy gasped, her eyes sparkling. It's symphony! The whole neighborhood is alive with music. The cat purred beside her, its voice weaving smoothly into the rhythm like a soft drum roll. Fireflies floated above, blinking in perfect time with the tune. Did you know, little friends, that fireflies actually glow by mixing chemicals inside their bodies, like tiny natural lanterns? Here, though, they seem to shine in time with the music, like glowing notes dancing in the air. Lucy twirled slowly, feeling the rhythm guide her steps. The lullaby she'd been hearing was now stronger, bolder, weaving from every corner. Then, as she placed her hand over her heart, she realized something. She was part of the music, too. With every beat of her heart, the melody grew richer. The whispers returned, but this time they weren't distant. They surrounded her, friendly and kind. Only the bravest little dreamers can hear the true song of the neighborhood. Lucy smiled, eyes closing. For a moment, she imagined all the children of the world, each hearing their own lullaby hidden in the places they loved. The thought made her giggle softly. So I wasn't just exploring streets. I was discovering a secret orchestra. The song slowed, softer and softer, like a mother's lullaby. The glow faded into a silvery moonlight. The cat curled at her side, and Lucy yawned. Her eyelids grew heavy, her head resting on a soft pillow she didn't even remember having. The music became nothing more than the quiet hum of nighttime. And as Lucy drifted into sleep, the last notes whispered gently in her ear, "Good night, little dreamer." And now, little dreamers, our journey through the neighborhood's secret symphony has come to a gentle close. The streets are quiet once more, the fountains are still, and even the playful swings have stopped to rest. The sounds we followed, soft whispers, tiny footsteps, and fluttering wings, have all blended into one final lullaby made just for you. Take a deep breath, in and out, nice and slow. Imagine you're lying under a sky full of twinkling stars. Each star is like a musical note, glowing softly above your head, guiding you towards sweet dreams. Can you hear it? A hush, a hum, a gentle song that only you can feel. Remember Lucy's adventure tonight, the little door behind her pillow, the curious whispers, and the hidden orchestra waiting in every corner. Just like Lucy, you too can find magic in the everyday world around you if you listen closely. Maybe tomorrow, the chirp of a bird or the rustle of leaves will sound like part of your own secret song. But for now, let your body sink into the blankets. Close your eyes, feel safe, and let the music of dreams carry you away. Sleep well, my little friend. Good night.